Hi and hello to all. This side Priya Rana, Assistant Professor at ST College Ambala Kant, and today we are going to discuss about goods and service tax. Talking about somewhat history of GST, it uh, came with the idea which was given by Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. He was former Prime Minister of a country, and after that many recommendations have came upon this topic, and firstly it was passed on by Lok Sabha in 122nd constitution bill, and in the year 2016 then it was passed in Rajya Sabha as well, and it was finally implemented on 1 July 2017. Now, what is GST? See, GST is an indirect tax levied on goods and services. What is it? It is an indirect tax. An indirect tax is the tax burden of which lies on other person. Okay. Next, GST is a single tax on the supply of goods and services. GST is a comprehensive indirect tax levy on manufacture, sale, consumption of goods and services at national level. It will replace all indirect taxes levied on goods and services by state and central. Now, definition of GST. See, if I talk about the definition of GST, it the tax on goods and services with value addition at each stage, having comprehensive and continuous chain of set of benefits from producer to the end consumers, and final consumer are the person who will bear the tax. Meaning of goods. See, goods is a movable property. Any movable property is known as goods. Okay, which is other than money, securities, or actionable claim, growing crops, or forming a part of the land, or any other things related to that. So we can collectively say that goods is a movable property. Now, due to GST, what is expensive? Mobile services, banking services, luxury items like hotels, healthcare, diamonds, these things are expensive due to GST. And what is cheaper? Fruits, vegetables, eggs, milks, two-wheeler, tea, coffee. So these things are cheaper due to GST. Next is, what is the objective or the purpose of GST? See, due to GST we have one country and one tax. We are not having tax at different levels, we are having tax at the final level. Next is consumption based tax. Finally, the consumer are the person who will to whom the tax has been levied. Finally, it is uniform GST registration and payment. It is similar for all the person to register for GST and pay for GST. Next is to eliminate cascading effect or double taxation or tax on tax. So earlier we have double taxation policy, on one stage there is a tax, on next stage there is a different tax, on next stage there is a different tax. So collectively the tax burden get increased. Now it has been eliminated. Subsume all indirect tax at central and state level. Subsume means absorb. So GST has absorbed all the indirect taxes which are at center and state level. It reduces tax evasion and corruption. See, due to GST, it reduces tax evasion. Evasion means to evade your tax liability, and corruption means doing anything illegally. Okay, it reduces, GST helps in reduction of tax evasion and corruption. It increases productivity, increases tax to GDP and revenue surplus. So these are the taxes at central level and state level. Subsume means absorb. These taxes are being absorbed under one CGST, and these taxes has been absorbed under one SGST. In CGST we have central excise duty, additional excise duty, service tax, countervailing duty, additional duty of customs, surcharge, education and secondary higher education cess. And at SGST we have VAT, sales tax, purchase tax, entertainment tax, luxury tax, lottery tax, state surcharge, cess, and levied on the above as of now. So these are the taxes of central GST, state GST. Now let's look at the salient features of GST. Number one is levy of taxes. Taxes has been levied at state level and center level. Utilization of levy. Who will utilize this? State GST and central GST. Next is availability of tax credit. We have a tax credit also. Government give us this credit facility also. So we have tax credit facility. Next is destination based tax. Ultimately the final consumer are the destination of the goods, or the consumption based, like the GST is a consumption based tax. Finally the consumer are the person who will pay, consumer or the destined person who will pay for the tax of GST. Assessment. See, the assessee can himself assess the taxable income under the GST for each period. Threshold limit. Under this, the businesses whose aggregate turnover in a financial year is 10 lakh in northeastern states, they are liable to pay for tax. They are liable to get registered. The person who are from the rest of the country, whose financial income is is 20 lakh, is exceeding 20 lakh rupees, so they are also under the threshold limit of tax in GST. Composition scheme. Composition scheme means we have small dealers. For small dealers, like presently the turnover of small dealers who are having 75 lakh turnover in financial year, and now it is being 1 crore. So we have a composition scheme for them to pay for GST. Next is GSTIN. So GSTIN is the PAN number of a person who will pay the GST tax. So TIN number means tax identification number, which is not common for all the people, but common at both state level and central level for each dealer or registrants. Next is compensation to states. So GST provide compensation to states when there is a loss of revenue, and initially when GST was being implemented during first 5 years, it has been given compensation to states also. Next is GST Council. So in this GST Council, we have the judicial body of states and center, like the state finance minister, taxation minister, finance minister of India. So these person sit on a panel and just discuss about GST laws and GST policies. They make decisions regarding GST. Next is advantages or benefits of implementation of GST in India. Firstly, the advantage to the citizens. So we have simple taxation system. We have reduction in prices due to elimination of cascading effect. Next is uniform prices throughout the country. Next is transparency in taxation system. Increase in employment opportunities due to GST. We have different panel of GST. We have applied different taxation officers there, so we have employment opportunities also due to GST. Next is advantages of GST to trade and industry. Number one is to different businesses there is a reduction in the multiplicity of taxes, and now the cascading or double taxation effect has also been reduced. Now next is more efficient neutralization of taxes, especially for exports. Development of common national market. Simple tax regime, fewer rates and exemptions. Advantages of GST at central state government. Firstly, there is a boost in foreign investment and Make in India campaign. Due to these things, we have a boost in foreign investments. Boost to export manufacturing activity, generation of more employment, leading to reduced poverty and increased GDP growth. Next is improving the overall investment climate in the country, which will benefit the development of states. Uniform GST and IGST rates to reduce the incentive of tax evasion. Due to uniform state GST and integrated GST rates, it has been reduced the number of people who are trying to evade their tax, that has been reduced. Next is reduction in compliance cost as no requirement of multiple record keeping. Simple taxation policy, broadening of tax base, improved revenue collections, efficient use of resources. Now we have this GST has been divided into intrastate or intra union territory transactions and interstate transactions. So talking about intrastate or union territory transactions, we have SGST or UTGST. SGST means state goods and service tax. UTGST means union territories goods and service tax. And CGST means central goods and service tax. And another one is IGST. IGST is collected by the central government, and it includes both SGST and CGST percentage or rate. Suppose if SGST is 9% and CGST is also 9%, IGST will be 18%. It is within the state, it is outside the state. So let's look at the comparison. Earlier we don't have GST and now we have GST. So the difference between the cost saving of the consumer, if I say, see, first of all, the cost of production is 5,000. Okay, the profit margin of the manufacturer is 2,000. Now the manufacturer price he have like 7,000 in hand. Okay, now earlier on this manufacturer price, excise duty is being applied, like 840 will be the excise duty, but here there is no excise duty because due to GST these taxes has been subsumed. Now next, VAT. Earlier the VAT has been added, but now we have added like CGST and SGST. Okay, CGST has been charged 12% and SGST has been charged 12%. After that, what is the cost? Invoice value 8,820 and here 8,680. Okay, this is about the wholesaler, manufacturer to the wholesaler. When wholesaler is selling goods to retailer, see, we have this price as total value is 7840 and here total value is 7,000. Okay, the profit margin is 10%. The profit margin has been given. After that, VAT, then CGST and SGST, then this is the invoice value of the retailer, and with GST this is the invoice value of the retailer. From retailer to the final consumer, see, if this is the value, like total value is this cost of goods sold to the retailer. Okay, then he has marked up his profit 10%. After that, the total value is this much. Then VAT has been applied in without GST, and in with GST we have applied central GST tax, that is 12%, and state GST tax, that is 12%. And now the total price to the final consumer is 10,672 rupees 20 paisa, and here 10,502 rupees and 80 paisa. And the cost of saving is this much. With GST the consumer is saving 169.40 rupees, and 1.59% is the cost saving. Next, talking about dual GST. See, if in simple words I say that dual GST is when both central government and state government will levy GST separately rather than center only. Dual GST means when separately central government and state government will levy the taxable value to the transactions. In India, the dual GST is proposed whereby central goods and service tax and state goods and service tax will be levied on the taxable value of every transaction of supply of goods and services. Next is the benefits of dual GST. See, if I talk about the benefits, is reduction in the number of taxes at the central and the state level. Reduction of number of taxes, because if I say that GST has reduced and subsumed all the taxes, so now with dual GST, reduction in the number of taxes, decrease in efficient tax rate for many goods, removal of the current cascading effect of taxes, reduction of transaction cost of the taxpayers through simplified tax compliance, increased tax collections due to wider tax base, better compliance, better for business, good balance between center and state, better for business, least changes, most benefits. Now we have GST Council. I have earlier also discussed that the GST Council include Union Finance Minister, Union Minister in charge of State Revenue or Finance Ministry in charge of Finance or Taxation. Any other minister nominated by each state government should constitute the council. Now what does they do? They make decision. They are the decision making body. So they are the decision making body that will make important decisions regarding the GST. Where the main objective of GST is to develop the harmonized national market of goods and services. It has a secretariat office in New Delhi. Where is the secretariat office of GST? It is in New Delhi. Function of GST Council, what does they do? See, they first of all, if I say that they make the decisions of GST basically, and taxes, cess, surcharges to be subsumed under the GST. What are the taxes and cess or the surcharges which are to be subsumed? These type of decisions, and goods and services which may be subject to or exempt from GST. These types of decisions, and the limits of the person, the dealers, the businesses, and the rates of GST, the laws related to GST, and special provisions of states and other related matters. So these are the decisions which will taken by the GST Council. Next, quorum and decision making. For a valid meeting of the members of GST Council, at least 50% of the total number of members should be present at the meeting. When there is a GST Council meeting, for a valid meeting, at least 50% of the members should be present at the meeting. And every decision made during the meeting should be supported by at least 70% of the majority votes of the members who are present in the voting meeting. So we want 75% majority votes of the members. The votes of the central government shall have the weightage of 1/3 of the total votes. Vote of the state government shall have a weightage of the 2/3 of the total votes. Okay, and then this was all from the GST. Thank you.